And good morning, everybody. Good Monday, day after the Super Bowl, Monday, February 12th. How you doing, folks? Real glad you're out there tuned in to this, the two best hours of local live talk radio. Joining us on 102.1 FM, WALT, Meridian.com, also Facebook and X and Y and Z and all those other places you can watch us. Say hi to, well, first of all, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Roger B. Say good morning to, here he is, our main man, Rob Atkinson.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Welcome after a great weekend, which you were probably working somewhere over the weekend.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
So.
okay, so.
Not yesterday, but most of the week.
Welcome to another day of work, Rob. Yes, indeed. And here's someone also who works hard on the weekends. Say hi to Mr. Charles Frazier.
Good morning.
Good to see you, sir.
Well, nice to be seen or heard. Well, I guess they can see us on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and
Everywhere else.
Everywhere else,
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Here we are. It's the day after the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something?
It is something. It's the day after Super Bowl.
You know,
That's what it is.
I've watched so many Super Bowls in the years past that the score was just totally lopsided. The game was boring, and it's like, ho hum. Okay, what's it going to be like this year? Wow. Shocker! It was great. It was a great game.
Was that a shocker of the result or a shocker that was actually a good
No,
game?
it was. I was kind of iffy. I knew, I didn't know it was going to come down to an overtime. That's for sure. But I was. I've just never been able to bring myself to root for anything San Francisco, so I was kind of pulling for the Chiefs. It was kind of nice to see that.
He's really a Taylor Swift fan.
Yes,
Deep down.
admitted.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
I knew it. I knew it.
We got that on camera.
I got her right on top of my ABBA records. Anyway.
Is that your Prius in the parking lot? All right, no, it's mine. Fine, whatever. We won't even get there.
Oh, I tell you what.
All right.
But no, what'd you guys think of all that?
Well, you said it was an exciting game. The first half was pretty boring. I mean, not a lot of scoring, a lot of mistakes. I don't know if it was nerves or what was going on. Second half, a little better. And
Yeah,
what I thought was fantastic was Mahomes' heart. I mean, that's what won the game, I think. I mean, technically, I think San Fran had played a better game, but boy.
In the second half, he switched into his college football game.
He did a little bit. Well, they kind of figured him out. They figured out the routes and everything like that, so they kind of shut it down. But anyway, it was a good game. Yeah, anytime it goes into overtime, it's close, and yeah, it's a lot more competitive than I thought it would be.
I was kind of watching the clock because it was getting near the time my wife was supposed to come into Meridian. Her and her mother had been out of town, so they were going to fly in last night. And I was thinking, okay, I think I should be able to finish the game and then be able to go to the airport. But then it goes into
weather was a
overtime.
little dicey, though.
You're like, I was like, well, I hope they don't mind sitting in the baggage claim.
Whoa!
It's a comfortable airport. I mean, it's a beautiful facility. It's got vending machines.
As it turns out, vending machines, all the rest. As it turns out, the flight was diverted, and now they're going to be coming back in this morning. So,
Where'd they end up?
Nolans.
Oh, not bad.
Okay.
The Louis B. Armstrong Airport.
That's 2 days before Mardi Gras, though. That's
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's working down there.
probably no hotels anywhere around.
But anyway, God bless him, because I have a feeling she spent the night propped up on a airport seating bench. Mercy. Anyhow,
That's rough.
it happens. We have good connections usually. We've used the connections many times, worked properly. Every once in a while, here we get, right here in the middle of winter, we get a spring storm. What's that about? Anyway, we're glad you're out there, folks. Of course, we want you to be part of the show. And, of course, Charles, you are a big supporter of Boy Scouts here in the area. So
Of course.
there's a distinguished guest next to you. Would you
There is.
please introduce
That's
our
right.
guest?
Well, it's our district executive, James. Is that right?
James,
Scout
let me-
executive.
James, and I want to say, is it Hogan?
Hogan.
Hogan.
Yes,
Almost like Hogan, but Hogan.
that's correct.
Hulk,
Yeah.
Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to our
call you Hulk,
welcome to our studio.
Let me
tell you something, brother.
You're taking me back to my high school days here.
There we go.
This is heyday.
We love to do that. Back in high school, just not middle school.
James Hogan is the executive director of the Choctaw Area Council of the Boy Scouts. And James, you're here early because we set you up for 7:30. But you in Boy Scout fashion, got up, got prepared, got here early.
Always early.
Always early. I like that.
it.
There you go. You want to maybe teach an area course on work ethic.
Punctuality. You can come teach my staff about punctuality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, just kind of hang out here with us, and we're going to get to the matter at hand that you're here for, and it's a very important matter. But let's talk about let's visit with one of our guests here on the phone. Let's say good morning, caller. Welcome to our show.
MAGA morning, true American patriot.
We are starting the morning with a dose of hazmat.
Well, let's make sure it goes down smooth.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Good idea, right?
Yeah, we do want smooth.
I've got an actual after-action report.
After action report.
Mm-hmm.
Were you at the Super Bowl too?
Yes. Oh, no. Yesterday afternoon, I was fixing to go to the little store out on 39, the marketplace or whatever it's called. All right, so I heard some gunshots. Didn't think much about it. That's a pretty much common event nowadays. So I get in my vehicle. I'm headed down 34th Street towards Gallagher Creek. I stop at the stop sign. I turn left, turn north on 35th Avenue. I get about halfway in the block, and I see this red rattle trap of a car coming down 35th Street. Didn't even slow down for the stop sign, kind of out of control. So I'm stopped in the middle of the block waiting to see what happens here. Well, they come right alongside me, parallel with me, and slow down and stop long enough to fire 5 or 6 shots.
Right beside you?
I don't hear this third hand or hear it on somebody's little Facebook thing. I see this. I see some of the bullets impact the dirt in the yard. And it's kind of like a surreal moment. You see this, but your mind is not processing it properly. And you think, well, and they wasn't in no big rush. They just went on down the street like another day at the world. And I thought, just as sure as I bounce out of this SUV and hose that car down.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, and the presence of mind said, no, just put some distance. So I go on down about my thing. So I come back the same way, and I'm thinking, well, you know, there'll be some police cars and this, that, and the other. There's a bunch of people standing in the yard talking, but like, oh, well, this is where we are in Meridian. Now, it's different when you see it for yourself than when you hear it.
Well, you said something very important. It's surreal. It's like when something like that, you hear the reports, but when you see it happening, you have this period. You have this period of disbelief.
In a car wreck, it seems like it's in slow motion. You know, and like I said, your mind, it takes reaction time and process, and then you train for stuff like this, and you think, well, when this happens, but you're in such a state of disbelief, you know.
Well, let me give you a commendation. I commend you for not getting out and hosing down the red vehicle.
These people need killing.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, they do. Because that's the only thing that's going to stop it. You know, they have absolutely no fear of the law and the consequences thereof. No fear of being apprehended, no fear of being prosecuted through the judicial system, no fear of any kind of punishment coming towards them. But this is what we can come to expect. But, you know, we've got to do something. It's either status quo, do nothing, and just ride it to the ground, or make up our mind, we're going to stop this. We're going to have change no matter what it takes. No matter what the consequences are, we're going to change this for the better. I wish somebody would get the U.S. Marshals in Meridian full time, put them up in a hotel, whatever they need, and just let them do their job. Because that's the only thing that's going to do this. And it's like you say, well, they can't recruit people for MPD. They can't get – who would want to come to MPD? You can be an officer out of the academy, Go to Biloxi, go to Gulfport, go somewhere where you can make more money, have a better life, a better environment. You got the support of the people, you got the support of the businesses, and the city government. Why would you come here?
If I'm going to go in law enforcement, I'm going to go to Mayberry.
Well, that's what they try to portray Meridian as being like an Andy and Barney and Mayberry type, but it's not.
Too much Barney.
I've seen this for 74 years. That's a pretty good baseline now.
Mm-hmm. And you do speak with experience.
Both sides of my family have lived in Meridian, Mississippi since 1890. Okay, they've seen it too. But this used to be a nice place to live. But we have descended, and we're in a graveyard spiral right now. I was at an event last night where your buddy Troy Moore was at.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice guy, and the judge.
And not
Judge
half bad to work
Jones
with
was
either.
there too.
Yeah.
And I was telling Robbie this, and he was in disbelief too. But I mean, he sees this all the time from the judicial standpoint. But I don't know what to say. I don't know what we can do. But whatever we're doing and expecting different results is like Einstein said, to do the same thing over and over and expect different results is a definition of insanity. It's just like doing a lab cookbook experiment in college or high school. It's been done millions of times.
Now, what I would have liked to have heard in this story, it's you are giving a testimony of what's happening in our area, but what I would have loved, what I would like to have.
About it wouldn't have mattered to them.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting right there in my vehicle. My window was down.
Yeah.
They could have easily said, hell, let's just pop a cap in him.
Now, what I would like to have heard, though, is that you had the license number for that vehicle, and you could have reported that to the sheriff's department.
Well, the sheriff's department would have probably done something. But like I said,
that's why I said sheriff's department.
Was avoiding bullet puncture. And
you were avoiding bullet
puncture. I had a friend of mine up-channel that report to me, and I said, well, I got one better than that. I saw it. She said, well, did you call the MPD? I said, I just as soon call Clarabelle a clown. What good would it do? That's the confidence we have in what we got now.
Yeah.
Let's do better, Meridian. Let's do better. This is where we are. And anybody got any counter to that, I want to hear it sometime today. But unless the citizens take action, nothing will change.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to get a petition, a vote of no confidence in the chief of police and MPD. And that guy that said it need to be resurrected or whatever the word he used from the ground up, it needs to be completely rebuilt.
I got to ask you this question, Has.
Good law enforcement, it needs to be completely rebuilt.
I got to ask you this question, though. And I'm not defending police department, any law enforcement. I'm just saying, in this situation with no law enforcement around,
the next step is vigilante.
What could they do? I mean, the police were not there, and then we don't have any way to identify these people. So, while we may not appreciate all what the police department does or how they do what they do, we do appreciate the men and women that get out there in the trenches.
Do you think you could actually adequately identify a pine cone from any other pine cone that was ever made?
Well, I'm just saying that, how I understand our frustration with the police department. I mean, we have the grand jury reports and all these other kind of things. How could they do better in this situation when they're not there? They don't see it.
They can't stop the crime. But they can investigate. They know pretty much who does this stuff. This is not, rocket science. But had they shot me in my vehicle to pieces, well, we're gonna get a 30-second press conference reading from a sheet of paper. That's the level we're at.
Yeah.
And like the captain goes down with the ship, the leader takes the heat. Just like Harry S. Truman, the buck stops here.
Yeah.
I will change it. Roger that.
All right, there you go.
Well, guys, and I will
Eyewitness report.
I'll piggyback off that a little bit. During the last city council meeting, there was a lot of questions raised about the purchase of these new cameras. We've talked about the new cameras that they're trying to mount here in the city of Meridian at certain spots, and the mayor made a very valid point. George Thomas asked the question, where are you going to put these cameras at? How are we going to do this? I mean, there's a lot of questions the council has, especially Mr. Thomas. And Jimmy Smith said, well, the police know where the crime is at. And I'm like, I thought that was a very defining moment in his statement to the council, specifically to George Thomas. Well, they know where the crime is at when talking about mounting these cameras. So when he said that, I was like, okay, well, all excuses need to be flushed out of this now. If they know where the crime is at, then, well, okay. So that's where these cameras need to go. But you had a good point about, in that particular situation with law enforcement, not it's a I know it's a tough situation.
Well, we want to
to
hold leadership accountable. There's no question about that.
But I just thought that was a defining moment for the mayor to say, well, they know where the crime's at.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm
of course
like,
they do. They've got hot spots. They can probably look at certain areas.
Yeah.
Now, those are big areas.
Yeah.
It's not like it happens right in front of this house. But I think that there are two things that really were failed here. The lack of cooperation with the neighborhood people. They know who it was.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these people in the neighborhoods know who it is.
They know exactly.
And
who it
who
is.
wants to tell on somebody that's firing guns in their yard?
Right. And the other thing is, even if you could identify the vehicle, I guarantee you the plates were not valid, nor was it probably their car. So that doesn't do any good anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you can identify it, you have it on camera, but so what? It's a stolen vehicle.
Guys, I know one thing. Back on Friday, there was more shots, near 5th Street, 6th Street, something like that in Meridian. We're out at the junior college playing baseball, and in between games, this is it's like maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. We're in between games, we're down the field working and whatnot, and all of a sudden we hear the pops, just like that. And some of the players that don't live here, like, what was that? And I was like, gunshots. They were like, really? You just say? I was like, yeah, it's gunshots in Meridian. And they were just like, really?
Well,
I guess they had never been exposed to that before, but folks who live here locally, it was like, man, it's gunshots.
And I'll be honest, I've never heard him here. And I used to hear him in New Orleans all the time. Every night we'd hear him, but I was also about a half a mile from kind of Gert Town, which was a high crime area. In New Orleans, of course, you're a half a mile from anywhere.
It was just several little loud pops, and then about 2 minutes later, there was more loud pops, just like that. So,
but I think the city has kind of this attitude of I hate to say ambivalence, but it almost is. It's another shooting. And they don't investigate them. They're just shots fired. Okay. We found evidence that, yes, you can read in the paper. Yes, we found evidence that there were 3 shots fired. Okay, well, what are they doing about it?
And they even have these audio
there's no
sensors that are supposed to triangulate where shots are
so what?
fired.
So they know where the shots are, but they're not doing anything about it. I mean, there's no investigation. There's no charges pressed or anything like that. So
now, that would be the thing. If you're going to have an investigation, you got to have investigators that can appear before the grand jury and present evidence that is going to be. I mean, you've got a whole chain of events here that have to happen right.
I know we had a phone call on the line, but one more quick point about the cameras. The question was raised in the last city council meeting about how they are going to mount these cameras because the city council asked the question about, is the power company going to allow you to mount these cameras on their poles? They're not. So the city is going to have to invest more money into that to mount these cameras themselves. And
but we do have cameras on utility poles that are already existing. I'm curious about that.
These brand new ones, the power company is not going to allow that for some reason. They didn't really give a reason. So the city is going to have to invest more money into some kind of an apparatus or something to mount these cameras. So that's just going to be more cost on the camera part of things, where maybe we could use the cost in the police department instead of just cameras.
Got a drone.
There you go. All right, real quick, let's take a phone call. We've got a couple of minutes before the break. Good morning. Welcome to our show. Good information. Thank you.
Yeah, just real quick, the reason why all these law enforcement's scared, they've got a umbrella. They got a sector population that's got a umbrella. They cover it by the mafia in Washington, D.C., and they cover it by the mafia. And they work for an organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ACLU, the NAACP, and it's a whole lot more. And if they
Southern
if
Poverty
they
Law is
even
in
try-
Montgomery, I believe. That's their headquarters.
Well,
Yeah.
they all over. They cover everything. They're always in Meridian's business, and they scared to death. You can watch them on YouTube. I watched about 3 hours last night. Every time they would try to arrest somebody to do something, well, every one of them, I can't breathe. Okay, you doing my rights. Family, get your camera out, family. You know, just lawsuit after lawsuit. It's just, you got to stand your ground, draw the line in the sand somewhere. When somebody breaks the law, you know, you need to arrest them and you need to get in the full extent of the law. But they're not doing it right now, and they're not going to do it, and it's not going to happen till you get this administration out of here and you get somebody with sand somewhere in the United States to start protecting the people that's out there working every day for a living, trying to protect the families and not taking all these government assistance, and to protect these people and put these other people in jail, no matter if it does go to $1 million or $2 million or whatever it goes to.
Yeah.
So they won't be sued. The cops are scared to death. The mayors.
Instead of $95 billion to
are
Ukraine, we
scared to
could
death.
save some money and just build more prisons, maybe. Hey, listen, we got to take a break. Thank you for the phone call.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a break. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Eagle Scout Recognition Breakfast coming up. Stay with us. Genesis.
What's an invisible touche?
That's
Touche?
as opposed
Like
to a visible touche.
Touche.
Yes.
Touche.
Mommy, they want to touch me.
Mornings in Meridian. There you go.
That
Let's
just took a
see. Genesis. Steve Hackett of Genesis is 74 years old today. Other musicians include
Buddy's brother.
Michael McDonald is 72. All right. There you go. Wasn't he a...
He was a doobie.
he was a doobie?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. He sure was.
Ex-doobie.
Gave him that little unique sound.
There's a lot of commercials now, I think.
Does he really?
Yeah, I think that's more than anything else he does. Yeah.
Let's see. On the actor and actresses, let's see. Maude Adams. She played in 2 Bond movies, The Man with the Golden Gun and also Octopussy. She is 79 years old today. So happy birthday. And this is the birthday of the late father of the Bonanza crowd, Lorne Greene. Born this day in 1915. Also, this is the birthday of some notable people. The guy who messed everything up, Charles Darwin, was born on this day.
Talking Obama, I didn't know where we were going with that. Lord, you make it harder. I mean, yeah.
Darwin kind of messed us up here a little bit. He was born in 1809, but also born on 1809, the same day. This is interesting.
Okay, I'm fascinated.
I know you are.
Mm-hmm.
The same day that Charles Darwin was born, Abraham Lincoln was born.
Okay.
So happy birthday, Lincoln. Be sure and pick up those pennies.
Yeah.
Do you pick up pennies?
You know.
I always pick up pennies.
Really?
I do.
Always?
Always.
Okay.
If I see it, I pick it up.
I think it depends on the circumstances. You know, if it's on the floor at the house, I'll pick it up. But, you know, if it's, you know, kind of in a
Walmart restroom floor.
Yeah, not so much. I think I'll leave it there, right?
Okay, I got you.
Right below the urinal. No, I'm not.
You know, I
gonna get that one.
I went for a walk. I was out traveling somewhere. I think it was in Oklahoma, and I was doing a morning walk, and I picked up literally 27 pennies, just in the walk. I mean, one place somebody looked like they emptied their ashtray or something and had like 20 cents there, but all in all, people just aren't picking up pennies.
So you got 27 cents out of it.
So I got curious, and I said, let me just see how much lost money's out there in the country. Just did a Google search. Anywhere, if it depends on who you study, who you read, anywhere between $2 to $5 billion of lost money in our country. $2 to $5 billion. Isn't that something?
Yeah, I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, how do they do it? Is that all pennies? That's a lot of pennies.
They extrapolate that
on the
out
Walmart restroom floor.
They extrapolate that out of what they found in like landfills and
that
money gets
includes
thrown
money
away.
thrown
and
away.
Yeah, swept up. Thrown
I've
away,
lost some money before, so.
So I don't know. Like I said, that's a big range.
Lost like a whole decade.
$2 and $5 billion.
Okay.
All right, in just a moment, we're going to get into our visit here for talking about the Eagle Scouts and the Boy Scouts. But first of all, let's thank our sponsors that help make this show possible, because we don't get our money off of we don't run this radio station off of money found on the concrete. We have to have
with billions
sponsors
out there, I'm starting to look. That's it.
I was going to say, how could we find all of
out
that
early, right?
All right, so
sponsors like Barber and Sons Plumbing.
Gary Barber
been doing it for over 80 years. Well, Gary hadn't, but he's been doing it a long time too.
Yeah.
Of course, conveniently located downtown, 1123 26th Avenue. All you got to do is call them. 601-482-7023. They'll come to your home or business and do any plumbing repairs. But the easiest thing to do, especially if you're a do-it-yourselfer, is to bring the broken part or even just take a picture of the broken part. And Gary's got every kind of plumbing part in stock, and he will even give you step-by-step instructions on how to fix it and probably a brief history of that particular part as well. Go see him, Barber and Sons Plumbing. Second to none. They are the plumbing experts here in town. 1123 26th Avenue. 601-482-7023.
Got a comment on a listener saying that the city settles cases instead of fighting them because they know the Poverty Law Center knows that the small cities like Meridian don't have the money to fight a lawsuit funded by George Soros and the PLC. Good call there. All right. Well, anyway, it's
the city needs to look for money too.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, one phone call, and then all right. That was quick. That's what we promised. Hey, I want to welcome to the show the executive director of the Choctaw Area Boy Scout Council, taking the reins from the former executive director Ken Kercheval. Welcome to our studio, Mr. James Hogan. How you doing, James?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
We're glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Now you have you've been here, I guess, about 8 months now. Is that
Since
right?
May.
Since May. So here you are, kind of settled in, I guess, at this point. Honeymoon's over and all this other kind of stuff. So you're hitting the ground running with another Eagle Scout breakfast.
We are. We got a Eagle Club recognition breakfast coming up February the 22nd.
This has been a great tradition for our area where notable, inspirational people are asked to come and be a part of it. And, of course, who do you have on tap for this breakfast?
So this breakfast, we've got Ryan Klesko coming in to speak to us, former Atlanta Braves. He was a first baseman, corner fielder. He also was with San Diego Padres and San Francisco Giants before he retired in 2007. So we're excited to have him.
Okay, so he'll be coming in here for the Eagle Scout breakfast, and we always enjoy hearing what they have to say. So tell us, just remind our listeners, though, why this breakfast is so important.
So this is our single biggest fundraiser we do to support scouting here in East Mississippi and Western Alabama, to support all the scouts, young men and women that we have in scouting. Make sure that we have a great generation coming up, and that's our biggest thing is our character education. Making productive citizens out of these young scouts that we teach in our programs.
So it's a major fundraiser for the council. And just remind folks, your council is, while your office is in Meridian, your council stretches out a little bit.
It does. We cover 6 counties. We've got, down in Alabama, we've got Choctaw County. We cover Clark County, Lauderdale County, Neshoba, Newton, and Kemper County. So
about how many
Big
scouts?
area.
How many scouts does that make up there?
So we ended last year with 543 scouts in our program, down slightly from before COVID. We're hopefully on a growing pattern this year, moving forward, and that's why this is so important. So we can make sure we're out recruiting scouts and getting them involved, and making sure we've got proper things to be able to train the leaders, and funding to make sure our camps stay open so that they can participate and go camping down at Camp Bonacci.
I'm probably going to ask you a question that's uncomfortable to answer, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just do that. But I noticed that the venue has changed for the breakfast. This is going to be at Faith Baptist Church. Is that right?
That is correct. We'll be at Faith Baptist Church this year. Doors will open at 7 o'clock on February 22nd. We have been in a different venue the past number of years, but that venue is unavailable this year for us, so we had to move to Faith Baptist Church, and we're very grateful for them opening their doors to us.
Well, and I need to investigate this, and you may not be able to answer the difficult question, but I did find out from a local bank that has a annual Thanksgiving dinner at the same Calmus Auditorium. That's for forever and a day. The Calmus Auditorium on the campus of Mississippi State University has been a venue open to organizations to use from time to time, but I found out back in November that once that function ended, then that facility would no longer be open to the public, which kind of confused me. Do you have any insight as to why that is?
I do not. I know that it was unavailable, and they have. I've heard from a few other organizations that it was unavailable for them as well. So I don't have any details on why. But
okay. Well, that's something that I guess I'll roll up my sleeves and go finding out why that's the case, unless one of you gentlemen have any.
A little investigative reporting, I think, is
well,
what I could hear.
So often we have just enjoyed. I mean, when I think about, used to have the breakfast before hours, used to have, like I said, this particular local bank, community bank, I'll tell you who it is, that uses that facility on a regular basis. And then, of course, it was a great kind of a nice location for the Boy Scout breakfast. And so for years and years and years and years and years and years, I know things change. I'd like to know why, but, why is it that the Calmus Auditorium is no longer available for public use? Well, I mean, it's public because it's a college, but
yeah, and the state's a great partner here in Meridian, so there must be a good reason for it. So anyway, I will, if I see any of the key personnel from the state branch, then I'll ask them.
Put them under
I'll
a hot
try to
light.
get to the bottom of it. Well, I'm not the hot light. I'll just
Oh,
I'll
do
withhold their
use
soup.
the hot light.
No gumbo for you until you tell me.
No gumbo for you.
All right, fine.
No black bottom pie.
That's
none,
right.
None.
No soup for you.
Just
Come back
don't
one year.
cut me off of that peanut butter pie. Anyway,
Handful.
and in the middle of this discussion, we have a caller. So do you have a question pertaining to Boy Scouts there, caller?
Well, it's more of a statement. I just want to say I'm a scout mom, and as a divorced mom, I got my boy into scouting as soon as he was old enough. And now he's 16 and is working on his Eagle rank. And we have a great group of, this is a wonderful program. We have a great group of dads, a great group of men as leaders, and we have a really good program here. We're so excited to have Mr. Hogan here, and he's a breath of fresh air, and his son's an Eagle Scout. So we're really excited. We're trying to get things going to put on a great summer camp this year. So I'd really like to encourage everybody to support the Eagle Breakfast. I know there are a lot of Eagle Scouts here in our community that maybe haven't been involved in scouting in a while. So I really want to encourage them to participate in this and help support our program.
Very good. I tell you what, that's almost like a paid advertisement right there. That was excellent.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm pulling into work. You guys have a great day.
Hey, thank you for the phone call.
Bye-bye.
Mornings in Meridian, there's a happy Scout parent.
And, of course, Ryan Klesko, that's a heck of a speaker to bring in, too. Of course, a lot of folks here locally are going to be very familiar with him because he played with the Atlanta Braves, and he was actually on that World Series team they had back in '95. So,
yes, he was.
So he's a pretty good name to bring in here. So.
He was also a scout in California for a short stint before he really got engaged in baseball, which obviously was a great choice for him.
Good deal. Fantastic.
That's it. So it's always it's nice, you know. In years past, I've had the opportunity to kind of meet some of these people that come in, and just it's kind of nice to rub shoulders with some of the folks. I'm thinking, you know, of course, Bobby Bowden.
Oh yeah, that was a great.
He came in and spoke
one
with us.
Yep.
And, that was
and scouting as an organization is important for the community. I think, you know, we just talked about how, you know, the Utes are you know, out there. I wouldn't say acting up, but committing a lot of crimes, and they have no guidance. A lot of these kids, just no parental influence, and I think scouting, not that it can fulfill that role, but it can be part of that equation. And you know, me personally at the restaurant, I've employed I don't know, a dozen Eagles. I mean, and they're fantastic. You pretty much put Eagle Scout on your application, and I'm going to hire you automatically. I mean. And I think a lot of businesses feel the same way. It's, hey, you've accomplished that? Okay. I know that you've been trained in citizenship, work ethic, and a variety of other things that benefit all businesses. Then, you know, and I know that we're getting a good quality candidate right there when they have that Eagle Scout on the application.
Yeah, that was when I was I lived in Asheville, North Carolina for a little while, and we had a gentleman that owned a bunch of stores, restaurants around town. He said that any Eagle Scout that comes into my restaurant, no interview.
Yeah.
I hire them on the spot. I'll give them a start date. They show up.
I'll always give them an interview because I like to put them through the ringer. You know what I mean? But, yeah, they used to come in early. That's right. Stay late. You don't even have to pay them. It's great. No, I'm just kidding. I got What? That would be illegal.
Well, you mentioned where you've been, and this is our first opportunity here on the show to get acquainted with James Hogan. So tell us a little bit about where you're from originally and where you've served with the Scouts.
Okay, so I grew up in just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in a place called Ottawa. Some of y'all may have heard that before. So that's where I call home. Started professional scouting in Chattanooga. Chattanooga took me through the first few years of professional scouting, and then I moved to Asheville, North Carolina for about 7 or 8 years, and then Macon, Georgia for 3.5, and then Meridian.
Wow, it's like the military.
Yep, that's. So that's cool. Well, you know, so we always have to put people on the spot when they move to Meridian. And what do you think of our city and our community and, you know, our location?
We like it so far. I've enjoyed being here. So
when you say we, tell me about your family.
Married, my wife Gretchen. Got a son Harrison, and he's an Eagle Scout as well as I am. And then I've got a daughter that's Sarah.
Okay, very good. Well, say hi to. Well, we'll give a shout out to all of them.
Yeah,
thanks for
absolutely.
if you're actually up early and listening, we'd love to to give a shout out to you all. So very good. So here you are, Meridian. Not quite completed their first year here, and taking the helm here of the Scout Choctaw Area Boy Scout Council. Now, back to the Eagle Scout breakfast. This is an opportunity for people to come. I know that people sponsor tables and invite people, but for the general public, people listening, can they show up for the breakfast?
They can, but we would like to have you RSVP. We need to know, probably it's a sort of short window by Wednesday this week. If you plan on coming, a seat is $150 if you want to just come as an individual. And if you want to host a table, we still have time to squeeze in a table or two. A table would run about $1,000, and you bring 7 of your best friends, so a table of 8.
Mm-hmm. Or bring some enemies. Sometimes it's good to have them closer.
Hey,
keep your friends close, your enemies closer.
There you go.
That might be a good idea. So all kinds of ways to, and this is good. And of course, usually the speaker, the celebrity speaker, like the Mr. Klesko, he might sign some autographs afterwards and that kind of thing.
We will have, depending on your sponsor level, you receive a signed baseball. So I think that sponsored level starts at the $300 price range to get one baseball, and then it goes up from there. And we also have a private reception the night before, if depending on where your sponsor level is too. So
what level do you got to be at the reception? Is that the Diamond Eagle?
Starts at the $1,000 level. You get 2 tickets to that reception.
The Silver Eagle. The Silver Eagle. Got you. Okay, got you.
Buy a table, Roger.
Yeah, and I think the radio station that we work for could buy that.
No, you just buy it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Start looking for pennies.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Saw a dime outside.
Talking to the guy that just closed a business. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Okay.
you buy it. Yeah, there you go.
You buy it.
Oh man, but yeah, it's a great cause. Of course, it's for the Boy Scouts, and of course, give us a report. What's the condition out at Camp Bonacci? Is it in good shape?
It's in good shape. We do have a few projects going on at Camp Bonacci, so anything we can do, we're going to probably looking at trying to do some capital work out there, capital campaign probably this year to do some repairs. Things have been going well. We've got an administration building that's currently under work and should hopefully be done being renovated by the time we get to summer camp.
Are we still killing them pesky creatures out there called skeets? Are we still? Are we still killing them skeets?
We are.
I tell you what,
Bonacci Shooting Sports is still alive and well. We had some people out there shooting yesterday before all the storms came through.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And I revert back to a story where we had guests from out of town, and we're trying to figure out how to entertain them in Meridian, Mississippi. Do stuff, and and we loaded up in the vehicle and came out to Bonacci Shooting Sports. And I have friends who, I don't know, they might be listening, so let me be careful. Never shot a gun before, and first pull, boom, shot the clay. They just had a big time.
That's exciting.
One of my dear friends, they didn't hit the first one, but one of my friends who had never shot a gun, they just, that was pretty cool. So I mean, this is kind of to let everybody know that when you think of the traditional ways to entertain, think of something that might include guns. Do some shooting.
And one of the things people don't understand, Bonacci Shooting Sports is open to the general public. A lot of people think that it's a scout camp, that they can't come out there and participate, but it is open to the general public.
My guests loved it. They had a great time, and it's safe. And you even had guns that we could use and rent and use in the process. Yes. So that was how that all worked.
So is that? Do you make an appointment? How does one go about doing that?
So if you're interested in coming out to Bonacci Shooting Sports, you can give us a call at our office, 601-693-6757. I'll get you in touch with Sean out at camp, and he'll take care of you.
Cool. Okay.
All right, 675-7693. Pretty cool stuff. It's nice. It was a good education for me. I learned to keep my eyes open when I shoot. It helps, to hit your target if your eyes are open.
All right, good plan.
Anyway, folks, it's the Eagle Scout Breakfast, and we're going to continue talking with James Hogan here, but we got to talk about our sponsors as well. And tell us who's next on our great list of sponsors.
Well, it's Doc's Toyota, right up the road in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Not all Toyota dealers are created equal.
They are most certainly not, and Doc's is second to none. Best customer service experience possible is their goal. Of course, they got all kinds of 2024 inventory: Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runs, Tundras, Highlanders, Corollas, you name it. Toyota makes it. They've got them. They got plenty of them as well. They also have a huge selection.
Very, very big.
That too. A pre-owned inventory, all been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection process, so you know it's a good quality pre-owned vehicle. Check them out. You can look at all their inventory online at docstoyota.com. You can even purchase a vehicle online. How cool is that? Of course, the easiest thing to do is just take that short drive up to Philadelphia, Mississippi. And, you know, you see deals all the time. Every dealership's got a deal. Well, you know what? There is no deal like a Doc's
deal. That's right. Exactly right.
Check them out, docstoyota.com.
It's Mornings in Meridian. We're glad you're along. And if you have any questions for the Scout Director or any comments, you're welcome to call us, 601-485-9191. You know, you mentioned you're talking about you had to stay briefly in Asheville, North Carolina. Of course, you're right there near the Smoky Mountains and just some beautiful country. I can only imagine what the camping trips were like for the Scouts in that area.
It was pretty nice. You know, we've been my son was in Cub Scouts there for the stint of our duration, and he had a lot of good camping trips. Their local camp council camp up there is Camp Daniel Boone, and it's a pretty nice camp as well. So
Camp Daniel Boone,
yeah, that's a camp there.
That would be that would be the one to say you went to. Yeah, exactly. So then, you know, obviously the options are different here in the lower foothills of the Appalachians. You didn't know that's what
I knew.
You knew that's what we say.
Yes.
You have to laugh. I know. I see the smile on your face when we say that. Yeah, we're in the foothills of the Appalachians. So the camping's a little different down here, but
still just as fun.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Because we're usually always packing up and say, hey, let's go to the mountains.
Right.
But here we are in Meridian, Mississippi, and Camp Bonacci and the surrounding parks. Your advice to a mother and father, a grandfather, or grandmother who have young people of the age, and what is the scouting age?
Scouting age is elementary school, middle school, high school. We go all the way to age 21. We don't have any Explore programs or venturing programs here right now, but it is on the radar to try and get some of those going, and that goes all the way to age 21.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, I'll tell you, if somebody out there has a young person that's not in the program, maybe they don't know about it, or maybe they just, you know, what would you say to this person to help motivate that young person to sign up?
You know, you could visit our website. Go see the website, cacbsa.org.
CACBSA.org. Okay.
And that is our website. You can obviously get in contact with us that way. But you know, kids growing up in scouting. I've got my son is in a scout troop now, and I've seen his progression through that program, and it has been quite exciting to watch as a parent. And you know, now my daughter is of age to be in Cub Scouts, and she is enjoying it and loves to go camping. You know, she saw what her brother got to do and really enjoyed that. But these scouts don't understand what the program is really doing in the background with this character education and helping us teach these kids to be productive citizens as they get older. That's really what we're trying to do is make these young people productive citizens when they turn 18 or 21, when they get out of high school or college and make good moral and ethical decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. And what I like about that, your children sound like they got involved because they wanted to, not because, you know, they've grown up around it. That's his job, but they found the value themselves and wanted to be in it.
Yes. My son, you know, like we said earlier, he got his Eagle Scout. He got it pretty young, but he had a driven Scoutmaster. It was not me.
That's the best way to do it.
Not that I wasn't. My wife and I weren't good influences on that, but you know, through the COVID time period, we had a good Scoutmaster that really worked really hard with these three young men in the troop, and all three of those young men got their Eagle Scout within 6 months of each other. So it was pretty exciting.
Very good.
But he wants to stay engaged, even though he's got his Eagle Scout. He got two more palms a week or so ago.
Excellent. All right, we have Executive Director, Mr. James Hogan here with us. And, of course, Ryan Klesko is coming to be the speaker at the Eagle Club Recognition Breakfast. And that's what date and what time?
February 22nd. Doors open at 7 o'clock over at Faith Baptist Church on Highway 19.
On Highway 19. All right. Be there. We'll take this break for Fox News and come back. Thank you, sir, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me out today.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome back to Mornings in Meridian, the second hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi, West Alabama. Roger B., along with, here is our main man from Meehan, Mr. Rob Atkinson.
Hello.
I just like the way that rolls. I hope that's okay with you.
It doesn't bother me one bit. I've been called worse.
All right, like what? Let's give a few examples.
I can't say it on radio.
You no good son of a
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna filth and foul your filth and face.
Have people actually implied that your parents were never actually married?
Like I said, I've been called worse.
Also, the show includes here he is. He is a restaurateur extraordinaire, but he's got some pretty good ideas up in that head of his. Say hi to Charles Frazier.
Good morning.
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well.
Good to see the team this morning on this Monday morning. Didn't call in sick after
Thought
the Super
about
Bowl.
it. Yeah. Well.
As so many people want to do.
That dadgum game didn't get done till 10 o'clock last night. I'm dragging this morning.
I'm impressed with how we have a society now that finds every possible reason to find a way to not come to work. A lot of different good fun. We got to come up with we'll have to do a show where we do all the excuses for not coming to work.
Wow, that could be like a week of shows.
But
just from the restaurant I've got.
But you have a zillion because you have people. I mean, you employ a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the top excuses? That
it's always just they're sick, but they always
Sick.
and they're sick. That's one thing, but of course, vomiting or other exiting. Areas.
Well, they do. They call up and say, "I'm sorry, I can't."
That's the trigger.
Wait a minute.
But that's right. That's the trigger in the restaurant. It's like if
but-
you're expelling things, then you have to stay home, and so they know that. But no, I mean I always know because there's some that are like
You have a
answer the
fever?
phone.
Do you have?
Well, I'll answer the phone and they'll be like, and they're like, yeah,
Hey,
whoever I'm.
Charles.
And I'm like, really? I mean, you're not you're not that sick, first of all. But the ones that call and say like, it's Joe, I'm sick. This is what's going on. I'm like, okay, I can believe that. That's legitimate. You're not giving me that whole, it's histrionic.
I was laughing my head off yesterday.
And then you hear somebody in the background like,
Hey, Mike, don't forget to hit pause
Right.
on the video game.
Right.
What
And grab me another beer while you're up.
Wait a minute.
Calling in sick.
That's what it is. You're called in sick, and your buddy from the back. Hey, you want another beer?
Someone better make a beer run.
I was
We're out.
laughing at a comedian, black comedian that was. He just saying. He says, when I call in sick, I just use my Elmer Fudd voice. Hello.
Yeah, well, that's the fake voice. Anybody calls in like that, I'm like, forget it. Yeah, I know you're not sick.
I'm sorry, I can't come in today. It was so funny.
Hunting wabbits.
Oh, we're having so much fun here this morning. Big thank you to James Hogan coming in from the Boy Scouts, telling us about the Eagle Scout Breakfast. It's that time. It's that February, that fundraiser. The Boy Scouts do need to have funds to operate. So appreciate all of you who support
Great
them.
organization.
absolutely. So.
And with that, we put our phone number out there bravely. We're not scared, 601-485-9191. And let's take a phone call. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Well, here we are.
There's bound to be a surveillance camera around here somewhere.
They're bound to be. Do they put one on the light pole in front of your house?
They have not, but they did have one on the light pole at 5th Street and 46th Avenue where the high-capacity shooting event took place.
5th Street and 40. Okay, I know. Okay, that's kind of a
5th and 46 where the shooting happened Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that because one of my neighbors had a family member that was at the intersection when the AK-47 or whatever the weapon was firing the load around.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it upon myself to drive down there after that was shared with me just to see what the condition was in, and I saw a surveillance camera at that intersection on the pole. One of those that I suppose you would say looks like a bubble gum machine made out of sunglasses, 360-degree camera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
curious, with the presence of that camera there, what have they reviewed, if anything?
Well, I think the big question is that camera operational? There were a lot of reports of a lot of these cameras not even working. So, I think that would be the first question.
And I remember at the last city council meeting that was brought up too. There was a big discussion about the cameras toward the end of the meeting after all of the Jimmy Rogers drama with the donations or whatnot. But that was brought up as Jimmy Smith was telling the council, at some point we want to set up a room at the police department where we can review the cameras. And when he said that made it sound like, to me, it's like, all right, we have these cameras currently up, but it sounds like that nothing is being monitored. It's just kind of like the words that were chosen in that particular area of the council meeting. The one I mentioned earlier, were like, the police department knows where the crime is. That was a big moment. And then saying that, too, on the back end of that, it's like, my gosh, that's sending so many bad signals to the citizens of Meridian.
Well, there was a proposal, a couple of months ago for the company that came in from Jackson, I believe, to put up new cameras. And they said that a lot of these cameras that are currently in existence are non-operational, but nobody's monitoring them.
Exactly.
So, yeah, why even have them up? I mean, it seems like an investment that was made without the proper follow-up. What's the point of having a camera? It's like having a gun with no bullets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A taser that's not charged.
For those listening that don't recall, when Mayor Bland hired the retired regional manager, I guess he was, of Mississippi Power Company, and gave them the contract, or half of it, which was, I believe, $10,000 a month, there was an additional contract to a separate company that would have the contents that would be like an archive file that people could give the location and the date and the time, and they could go into that, like you see on Live Cops on TV, where they review the evidence from the time.
I went. I know the person who had the monitoring service for those cameras. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I do remember being in their command center, so to speak, and it was impressive to see what was on screen all around town at any given time. And it was, if they're still doing that service, that is very valuable. I hope they're doing it, but who knows what's happening with the cameras now? I do not know. I can find out though.
On the monitoring side, I remember seeing something where they had an organization, whether it was SETI or NASA, to where it was open to people in the public to go to their computers and review parts of the sky and give them information on astrological, I guess that would be the term, new discoveries and events going on in the world. And I bet there's a lot of concerned citizens that would take time out of their days just to watch those cameras and watch people throw fast food bags and dirty diapers and all sorts of garbage out in the streets if they could read the tag and make them get out there and clean it up.
The city and the county, they still have not tapped what I think would be the most valuable resource for watching these cameras. If they would just, solicit and put out there on the web, applications, any housewife who wants to come and monitor these cameras, because I tell you what, my wife doesn't miss a thing, and there are other people like that. I mean, I'm sitting there. She's been out of town, right? So I'm feeding the dog, and there happens to be a camera at our house right near where the dog is fed, and I'm not even thinking about it, and I'm sitting there, and then I hear this, hello. And I'm thinking, oh, that's right. I'm on camera, so she's 600 miles away observing as to whether I fed the dog or not. Which, there's no problem,
of course. Did you feed the dog?
I did feed the dog.
Good job.
I fed the dog regularly. Now, the cat, not so much.
Whatever. They can fend for themselves. It's fine.
Go get a mouse.
That's right.
I think this.
But, what do you think about the housewife monitoring system?
I think there's a lot of retirees, male or female, old or young, people that would be glad to pinpoint those minutes and events and report them to somebody capable of responding with some enforcement, punishment type action.
Well, and here's the question I continue to have, because we talked about cameras so much this morning, but it always goes back to how many officers, I'm talking officers that are out there patrolling the streets, how many of those folks do we have right now? Because I know for a fact we've lost some over the past several months to either retirement or they just simply left the departments. I'm just wondering, what are the boots on the ground? What is that actual number right now? Because I'm not talking about the time we had the police chief on, we had this many. Well, that's counting folks in the office and stuff like that. How many boots on the ground do we have right now? Because it's kind of like this camera discussion is all that's being talked about, but what about the flip side of thing? We had that recruitment story last week that was on TOK, where you had the Detective Stevens talking about, we're looking to recruit more officers. Well, how many do you currently have? So we talk about the numbers all the time, but you hear somebody say this, somebody say that. Well, what is it?
Sure.
So,
and we don't even know. And it would be great to have even a monthly press conference, or even just a monthly 5-minute kind of update from the chief or any other representative from the police department saying, this is how many we've got, this is how many crimes we've got that are unsolved, we need the public's help in this and that. Crime Stoppers.
Communication.
Here is a failure to communicate.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't at one point, I can't remember what what administration was. I want to say it was John Robert Smith, or I believe it was his minister. They had either a weekly or a monthly press conference.
That's what they needed to do.
And it would be regular all the time, where you would have good communication with the city of Meridian and the taxpayers out there.
But also talking about how they're cooperating with the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department, and what are we doing as a community to solve this problem?
Yeah.
And that
wasn't there
wishful thinking.
Wasn't there a WTOK police advertisement that was on a regular basis that said, you call us and tell us where they are and we'll come pick them up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they used to have the Crime Stopper report all the time, yeah.
And see, that type of service is anonymous, so, you can report information that can help law enforcement without being, singled out as being the snitch in town and then being targeted by these
snitches get stitches.
Oh no, we got to get away from that. But anyway, good conversation here, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's troubling. The police station, Fifth Street, Canes, hazmats report. It just goes on and on.
But here's the systemic problem.
Community.
You have law enforcement. Okay, you got to be able to carry this all the way through. You got to be able to identify who's doing the shooting and who's breaking the law. Then you got to have the officers arrest them. Then they've got to have the right evidence so that they can take them into court and prosecute them. And then you got to have a judicial system that'll prosecute them and then put them in jail and make them do the time.
The jails.
Then you got to have the jails.
Yeah.
We have a system that is really just, broken in so many ways.
And the criminal's not scared. The criminal's not scared.
Not scared.
Can we use that term, dysfunctional?
Yeah, we've taken the fun out of dysfunctional.
A lot of other,
Absolutely.
Words too. So.
Speaking of which, when you had your guest on the previous hour and the scouts that was located and stationed or whatever they do in different areas of the mountains, you mentioned the foothills. One of the radio stations 50 years ago used to refer to our location as the toenail of the foothill of the Appalachian Mountains.
The toenail.
That's right.
Toenail fungus.
That was.
Oh no!
What? No! Oh, the fungus.
Yeah.
Have mercy. Hey, thank you so much for reminding us of that.
And Matt Grubb says, if you hadn't got the time, don't
do the crime. That's right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for the phone call. That's always good to hear from our man who looks out his front porch and makes sure that everything's copacetic.
Yeah.
But it's like the process you just said. It just trickles right on down to that final part, the process of judicial system. That part of it too. It's just.
Well,
it's just top to bottom, all just messed up.
We must highlight the positive aspects of our culture, and one of them is Trucker Supply. Let's face it, folks, a great place to still go and shop and get supplies for your farm or trucking equipment, or just things that you want around your house, like pressure washers, dog dishes that are, say, Yeti on the side, coolers, trailer hitches, lights for your vehicle. I saw somebody with a burnout tail light. Hey, fix your tail light. Come on.
Come on, Cannon.
I did not. I didn't.
Fix your light.
Didn't even do a citizen's arrest, but anyway.
Oh, wow. You're tempted.
But I mean, anything and tools. I mean, Milwaukee Tools. You tell them about Milwaukee Tools there, Charles.
Made right here in the state of Mississippi. They got a full room of Milwaukee Tools. I mean, everything
Lots
that they
of them.
make, everything that's ever been made for Milwaukee Tools, they have. Well, that may not be quite true, but it's a lot of them anyway. And, of course, as you said, Truckers Supply is your one-stop shop for all of your tools.
Yes.
But I like when you said from pressure washes to dog dishes. That pretty much covers everything.
Isn't that
and everything
something?
in between.
Yeah.
You know it.
That includes gas cans.
Oh, it does. You're right.
You need
because
gas
that's in
can.
between. Everybody
Yeah.
needs a gas can. You need
That's
a full gas can. Actually,
That's
not an
right.
empty one. Go check them out. 519 Highway 19 South. The Carr family's been doing it since 1969. That's 55 years. I think they know what they're doing at this point. Truckers Supply. They got those Knipex tools as well.
Those German
Channel
engineered
locks.
channel locks.
On steroids.
Yeah.
And, of course, everything Yeti that
Get
you would
one
ever
for you
need.
and one for your neighbor.
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 The neighbor.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry.
again.
I'm sorry.
We're jumping ahead of the Jeffrey Wilson ad. Hey, but Trucker Supply, 519 Highway 19 South. Everything you need for your shop. Check them out.
All right. That's Truckers Supply. Mornings in Meridian. Glad you're out there. Caller on the line. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. How you doing today?
If you see something, say something.
Come on. Preach it, brother.
We got a toenail fungus.
We've now the toenail fungus of the foothills of the Appalachian. Oh, boy. Whew. Mercy.
Oh, Artel was doing a good job. He does his homework. Let me tell you what.
Well, and you do as well, sir. You certainly have your ear to the ground.
Yeah, and I'm able to get up occasionally. At my age, it's hard to do, but.
I think this last Sunday morning, being at home by myself reminded me that it may not be good for me to retire.
Might not. Let me tell you what. I was forced into retirement, but it was wonderful. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. But
we might
sometimes
not
I think I need the place to get up and go to every morning.
Well, maybe you can come do a show with us and talk about how to retire properly.
Oh, well, okay. I'm writing a book on that, along with how many restaurants can you visit in 2 days?
There you go. Learn all the restaurants in Meridian and Lauderdale County.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I know y'all getting close to a break, but
We won't take one if we got a good conversation going, and you're a good conversation.
I enjoyed your previous caller, but it's the solution is not simple, I guess, but it just does not look like we're even trying to find a solution sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know where do you start, or you use a multi-pronged approach. You got to get to the state legislature, and let's get rid of this whole idea that if misdemeanor is going to be way up there, $900 or $1,000, whatever dollars, $1,200. I don't know where the misdemeanor, the value of a crime or theft We've got to go a lot of different directions. We've got to focus on our city government, the police department. We've got to focus on the laws that have basically taken away the law enforcement's ability to enforce because they've raised the limit of misdemeanor versus a felony. All these things.
And we've got to get back to respecting our law enforcement. I know there's some bad apples in every situation, from the pulpit to the police car.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to get back to respecting them, and because if we don't, we're not going to have any to serve us. They're not going to want to get into the profession. But anyway, that's my humble and accurate opinion.
Both humble and
accurate, right?
Both humble and accurate. I love it. Thank you, sir, Jim.
Self-contradictory. And I think that the important thing that he mentioned was that you've got to prosecute these small things as well. Somebody litters, get him for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course every shooting and everything else, because I think we look at the big picture and say, oh, if the crime is severe enough, that's when we'll prosecute, and that's when we'll take it all the way as far as we can. No, prosecute every little thing, because if you pay attention to the small things, the big things not quite take care of themselves, but almost, because you eliminate those.
One crime we need to eliminate, and that is people who are out there trying to say that they have a business machine business and they're trying to make you believe that they are of the same quality of Purvis business machine.
That's just a lie. How could they be?
Jerry and Betty Purvis, they have been in this business since 1979. I guess that'd be 45 years.
It would be.
And so, my goodness, that is fantastic. And of course, they know the quality you need in your business to make it run smoothly, and they have all of that. And they have the ways to make these machines talk to each other and talk to your computer and talk to you.
Connectivity. That's what it's all about. That's the name of the game these days. And your Purvis business machine will communicate with all your devices. You don't even have to communicate with them anymore. Yeah, they do it all for you. And it's all about document management as well. And Purvis business machines are expert in that regard. But what I like about them best is their service. And that's the motto they live by: service, not excuses. They've been doing it since 1979, as you mentioned. They also have lease return color copiers. You can save up to 85% on those. Can't save 85% on anything these days. If you go out and find a few pennies, you can probably buy one.
A few.
Well, maybe a couple more than that. Give them a call today, 601-693-COPY. Of course, they got a wonderful website, gopurvis.com, and their showroom on 4505 Highway 39 North is as clean and as wonderful as you can be. The service is just friendly there as well. So Roger says that he will lead off the floor.
I will.
Okay.
If I open up one of those great mints they have when you walk in and I drop it, I will pick it up and eat it.
That's fine. Purvis Business Machines, service not excuses since 1979. 601-693-COPY.
Back to the phones we go. 601-485-9191. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hey.
Hey, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Roger Burt's the last one. I heard him ask you about what excuses your employees use not to come to work. He's the last one you need to be telling.
You are absolutely right. That is a great point. More excuses.
He wrote the manual on it.
He did, right?
Wrote the manual.
Volume 1, 2, and 3.
The how-to book.
Exactly.
The how-to book. Yeah.
How not to go to work for dummies.
For dummies. That's right. Calling in sick for dummies.
My neighbor's cousin's dog died.
Right.
Well, wow.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, the other question you were talking about, we've talked about it till we're blue in the face, been talking about it on here 30, 40 years. Until you start punishing the people for committing crimes, it's not going to change, and they're not going to punish anymore. Mm-hmm. The ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center and all that's making it sure that people who commit crimes don't get punished and our state legislature, they get punished to the bare minimum. And y'all do know that a lot of these fines and stuff that are levied against people that they do catch and fine, they walk in there and say, I'm low income. And so they don't even have to pay them.
Yeah.
So until we start punishing criminals, they're not going to change. And they're not only they're not going to change, they're going to become emboldened. And y'all were talking about press conferences. Mayor John McDonough, now the one that did press conferences and loved the limelight was Jimmy Kemp. Boy, he'd get his powder out and powder his head, bald head in a minute, get on TV. But now John Roberts, he did do the news conferences. And if y'all remember, I don't know if y'all remember, but Stan Torgerson was a news on a lot of stations news.
Yeah.
And he was a big John Robert Smith fan. Y'all want to hear my Stan Torgerson imitation?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Mayor Smith, I'm sure you've done something wonderful today. Would you care to elaborate?
Look at that.
Man, Trump is making me pull my hair out. I'm going to vote for the guy, but good grief. How can you not know that Nikki Haley's husband was deployed and he's sitting up there making like he's hiding out, don't want to be seen with her? Where's he at? He's deployed.
Yeah.
How dumb that's like making fun of her dress and her clothes the other day. Just because it comes into your head, Donald, don't mean it needs to come out your mouth. My God.
This is the thing that we Trump supporters have always talked about, and that is, we hire him to do a job, but it would be nice if he'd do it just a little bit more quieter.
That's right. Shut. Right.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to protect our border like he does. Nobody will make America safe like he will. Nobody will get business going, our economy back on track. But shut up with the stupid stuff.
But hey, Biden was telling somebody in a wheelchair to stand up. So that's
stand
up. Of course, he's part of the party that gets away with that stuff.
Yeah.
the opposition. Hamas, that bunch. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, Biden. But anyway, all right, guys, we listen. Thanks.
All right. And as far as I'm concerned, Biden's memory is good. He's in good shape to run again because, folks, trust me, if you want Trump to be in the White House, you want Biden to stay in it.
Yeah.
So I did a little research. I'll talk about that when I come back. I was just curious how far into the race that Lyndon Johnson, decided not to, or announced that he would not run. And I looked up that date, and that's kind of interesting to talk about. When we come back, Your Money Now. Let's do it.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now.
That's the voice.
That's not Usher.
No, that's not Usher. I would have preferred a halftime show by the Doobie Brothers.
Well, they always say wish in one hand and you know what in the other.
That's right.
Michael McDonald, who joined the Doobies, that's him on the lead on that song. He's 72 years old today on the 12th day of February. So happy birthday. Other music notables, Wilson Phillips. Is it China Phillips? Is that her name? China? How do you pronounce that?
Sure. Yeah, that one.
Sounds good.
56 years old today.
Okay.
All right. Arsenio Hall, 68 years old
Let's
today.
go, Arsenio Hall.
Oh, yes. Yes.
There's a God somewhere.
Amen.
Yeah.
Let's
he
see
helped,
here.
He helped Gilligan get off the island.
There's the Coming to America movie guy.
I'm going to pray for you.
And the late scientist Charles Darwin saying that, this was all part of a grand accident where we came off of scum off of a pond, and there was an explosion, and we started swimming, and then we started growing legs, and then we came on land, and we started walking upright, and now we are talk radio show hosts.
So we haven't developed very far from the scum. Wow, pretty close. And,
Yeah,
okay.
that he was born on this day back in 1809.
And who else was?
Abraham Lincoln, 1809. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Yes. We're glad you're out there going to be part of the show. You can call us at 601-485-9191, 601-485-9191. All right, guys, we got to take time to talk about your commercials. Super Bowl commercials. What did you like?
Neighbor.
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 Oh, man.
It's the neighbor.
That was a good one. You know, this is that State Farm commercial.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
This might be a good time to talk about Jeffrey Wilson.
Oh, because he's a neighbor.
Neighbor. Neighbor.
Oh, neighbor.
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 All right, well,
She's in labor.
should we just play the commercial and then talk about Jeffrey?
Yeah, let's play the
and we'll
commercial
talk
with
Jeffrey
Jeffrey,
Wilson.
Let's see what we got here. Here's Arnold running out with puppies. The fire.
Thank you, Agent State Farm.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut. Hey, Arnold, I'm hearing neighbor. It's neighbor.
That's what I said. Neighbor.
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 Hey, let's go again.
Like a good neighbor.
He's in the
State
helicopter.
Farm is there.
Cut.
Now what?
Neighbor.
Yeah, neighbor. Just like it's written on the paper. Neighbor! That was the sheep. And you know it.
That was
Neighbor.
the sheep.
Still no.
Neighbor!
Neighbor.
Bah!
Bar.
Bah! This lady's in labor!
Cut. Arnold, got a bit of a script change. You'll love this.
Thank you, Agent State Farm.
Like a good
neighbor, State Farm is there.
Danny DeVito.
You are a backstabber.
I'm a backstabber.
I love it.
So, favorite commercial of the Super
That
Bowl?
was my favorite one.
There
so.
it is. Of course, that we had to play that in the.
Oh, fantastic,
Since
yeah.
we're talking about our sponsor, Jeffrey Wilson.
Jeffrey Wilson.
So who's whether they go meet a good neighbor?
Neighbor. Jeffrey Wilson. Exactly. Well, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You know, you can save an average of $889 when you combine your home and auto insurance. And, of course, Jeffrey Wilson is ready to help you do that. Just give him a call today, 601-483-8253. Or, of course, just go see him. He's at 2401 Highway 39 North, and he will, once a year you ought to reassess your insurance needs. He'll sit down with you on an annual basis, kind of look at what you need, save you money here, and tell you exactly what you need to have covered, because it's very important that you do that. You need the coverage to protect your assets. So, anyway, give him a call today. 601-483-8253, because he is like a good
neighbor.
It's on the paper.
On the paper. That's what
All right,
it says.
folks, I apologize, but we're going to be hearing this now going forward probably
for the next couple
for a
years.
long time.
But that's what it's supposed to do.
It gets your attention.
It gets your
It
attention.
does.
You know, you think about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's a prolific actor. He's done well. Of course, he was a big what do you call that?
Governor.
He was the governor.
Governor.
The governor. But it comes. He's a bodybuilder or whatever they call them. Then he becomes an actor. Goes into politics. He's a governor, and yet he still, probably for the right amount of money, does this commercial. And then Danny DeVito comes in at the end, just kind of capping it
Yeah,
off.
nice
real
reference
good.
to twins.
Twins. That's what really got me. I was like, oh my gosh, they're back together, twins. I was like, this is great. I was like, yeah, because I love that movie. So.
Then it got me to thinking that might have started the problem with he and Maria Shriver, because he was always probably calling the family Shriver.
Shriver.
Yeah.
Your name is Maria Shriver. Shriver.
I'm the governor.
Anyway,
could have been. Yeah.
Well, guys, I was looking at the they had the halftime show last night with Usher. Of course, the nostalgia with a lot of folks in 2000s music or whatever. But I was looking at a list of all of the performers. And I'm just going to start back here in 2002 with the big game halftime show. Look at how this has changed over the years. In 2002, you had U2. I'm pretty sure they're worldwide. Kind of a rock pop band. Then the next year, you had Shania Twain, No Doubt, and Sting, which was interesting. 2004, you had the slippage of Janet Jackson. We all remember that with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Next year, you had Paul McCartney.
That was not slippage. That was a failure. Yeah. Costume failure.
Yeah. Paul McCartney in 05.
Malfunction.
The Rolling Stones in 06. Wow. Prince in 07, which I still say that's the coolest show because it started raining in Miami during Purple Rain, which was really cool. 08, you had Tom Petty. 09, Bruce Springsteen. The Who in 2010. The Black Eyed Peas in 2011. Madonna in 12. And look at the way things shifted after this. Beyonce in 2013. Bruno Mars in 14. Katy Perry in 15. Coldplay in 16. Lady Gaga in 17. You had Justin Timberlake in 2018. Maroon 5 in 19. Followed by Shakira, The Weeknd, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Rihanna, and then, of course, Usher with a lot of different special guests last night. So look at the change from all of the rock into more of the, I guess you would say, hip-hop and R&B type music. So it's been a very dramatic shift since the early 2000s.
Thank goodness they at least had Reba do the national anthem. Reba McEntire.
Which, by the way, did you see one of the players he got? He was moved to tears
Chris
last
Jones,
night. Chris Jones, Mississippi's
boy.
own.
That's right. From Houston.
We had some Mississippi people there.
That's right. Chris Jones and Willie Gay on the Chiefs team both played up at MSU. And also during the halftime show last night, if you saw the marching band that was on the field, where they spelled out Usher on the field, that was the Sonic Boom of the South from Jackson State University that was there last night. So they kept that a big secret, and everybody was like, "Is that?" And it sure was. It was the Sonic Boom of the South, legendary band from JSU. So a lot of Mississippi ties to the game last night, and Brad Freeman was on the officiating crew last night. He actually is from Mississippi. He played baseball up at MSU, so he was on the officiating crew last night. So a lot of ties to the Magnolia State. So
another commercial I liked on the Super Bowl was because I'm a Christopher Walken fan.
Yeah, I love that one.
The people impersonating Christopher Walken. And just him kind of like, all right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, celebrities were used a lot last night, as they usually are during the Super Bowl commercials.
Had it not been an exciting game, we would be so glad they were there. But the game was exciting, and that was kind of nice. Another phone call here at Mornings in Meridian, 601-485-9191. Good morning.
Just released who's going to do next year's halftime show.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here it comes. Hot off the press.
Needle nostrils and the Norwegian nose pickers.
Oh, excellent. Looking forward to that one. Yeah.
Patrick Willis going into the Hall of Fame.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, Ole Miss guy, too. Yep.
All right, over now.
Hey, thanks.
There we go.
601-485-9191. Put you right here on the show with us. And, of course, we just appreciate you all being out there and making this a good post-football, post-Super Bowl morning program.
Football!
Well, I think that USA League or something's supposed to be kicking
in. Get out of here with that.
Strictly NFL, right?
Jamar.
Yeah. All right. Quick break. We'll be right back. Give us a call, 601-485-9191. When we return.
it's so dangerous, you'll have to sign a waiver. Can I help it if I think you're funny when you're mad?
Okay. So glad to have you back. Yes. That actually, I might have enjoyed Bare Naked Ladies. Enjoying the.
I think we all enjoy. What are we talking about here?
No. It's the
Caught
name.
me off guard there. He was just saying something.
Instead of Usher for the halftime show, but
you should have had some Bare Naked Ladies up there. I would watch it.
Easy, fellas, easy.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Cregan from the group Bare Naked Ladies
it's
is
a band.
54 years old today.
That's you women down there in the
Easy now. Don't go down to.
Well, I bet when they were first starting out as a band, when they put that on the marquee, people were like, "I'm going to go see that show."
And Rob goes down.
Bare Naked Ladies. Shoot.
Rob goes down the avenue of the supervisors of Ghost of Supervisors Past.
Oh, sorry.
I'm telling you. So glad you're out there, folks. It's Mornings in Meridian. We are having more fun here than a person has no, we have a right to have fun.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. In the Constitution? The right to have fun.
We do. In fact, the nation thought it was the right to have fun. It's 1892 that Abraham Lincoln's birthday was declared to be a national holiday. So that was in the 19th century that established that holiday was established. But now we know it's all become kind of President's Day.
Yeah.
Since Washington was born in the same proximity on the calendar. Yeah. Anyway, so that way they could have a presidential sale, President's Day sale, and all the specials that go along with that.
Babylon Bee with a headline this morning: to win back old customer base, Bud Light adds mullets to its cans. Yeah, that was a whole kind of an interesting thing. The Bud Light comeback commercial, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. So
they had one. They actually had two, I think, last night. Well, they had previewed one over the weekend where it was a bunch of guys in a bar, and it was Peyton Manning and Post Malone and other guys in a bar trying to make it just masculine. We're all at the bar.
Dylan Mulvaney was not in.
No, he's not in there. And then last night they had one where I guess the roads were kind of frozen over, and the Clydesdale's like, well, we're going to do this delivery, and the horse comes up and bumps him on the back of the shoulder, like, we can take care of this, and they're going through the icy roast to make the beer delivery to the local bar or whatever. So they're trying to get Americana and masculinity back into their advertising.
And horses on ice skating horses.
Back to the horses.
That's important.
Yeah, back to the horses and the dog motif. So that worked out pretty good. The dog led the horses through the snow.
Well, I would be interested to see in a month or two how that affects Bud Light.
How that's going to affect the bottle after they've lost $500 million since the Dylan Mulvaney thing. So.
Yeah. The best commercial would have been if they could have got Joe Biden to do a Bud Light commercial where he comes on and says, "My memory is great because I remember the best beer," or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
One thing that was weird, one thing that was really weird last night. Usually they have a lot of, I guess, movie trailers for new movies coming out this summer. But what they did last night is they would put like a snippet in there and say, "Go online to see the full trailer." So. Which is
a lot cheaper.
It's a lot cheaper.
It's like a 10-second ad.
But these companies, these movie companies, are after you going and sharing and liking a post on social media instead of spending the big bucks on a 30-second or a 1-minute ad. To
be honest, though, people aren't going to movies like they were.
Right.
I mean, you can stream it all now. Why go and spend $20 on popcorn and
they did have a teaser trailer for the sequel to the movie Twister. The Tornado movie with Helen Hunt.
Yeah,
they're making a sequel coming out this summer.
And Charles, you made reference on the break, and I'm in full agreement. That was just a classy, great spiritual ad about Jesus washing the feet.
Yeah, I thought it was just other people washing feet, really. But ultimately, Jesus, that's what Jesus did. So I thought, I read a little bit of negative comments on Facebook or social media about
of course you're going
being
to get
too woke, and it was in front of an abortion clinic and other things like that. And maybe, but you know what? I think the message kind of resonated. I liked it anyway. I thought it was kind of cool.
I liked it, and. Of course, we do something strange in our church. We actually do the foot washing.
So we do too.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Don't wash mine. They never wash mine though. Like, not him.
Wash my feet.
Because of the toe fungus that you're talking about.
I got a little fungus right here.
Yeah, dude.
But no,
that fungus off.
That's how that whole he gets us campaign.
Well, it's all about humility and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. No one's better than anybody else, kind of thing.
Right.
Mornings in Meridian. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Yeah, I heard. I believe Charles use masculine and Post Malone in the same sentence. Isn't that kind of like an oxymoron?
I don't know if I used Post Malone. I don't think I mentioned him. I don't know, but it was something maybe. But I speak in oxymorons all the time. I'm oxymoronic.
Yeah, as far as Biden and a Bud Light commercial, he could say, "That's not dementia. I'm drunk on Bud Light."
We would believe that. See? Yeah. Oh, it all makes sense now.
There you go. Now we get it.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the good old Joe that he wants to be, right?
Right.
Isn't that what he claims he is? He's just a good old boy?
Somebody made the joke, too. Post Malone did the America the Beautiful before Reba did the national anthem last night. Well, they showed Post Malone. It was midway during the ball game, and he's up in the suite. They're showing all the celebrity sightings last night, and he's wearing a Dallas Cowboys jacket. And I was like, the Cowboys made the Super Bowl.
They did.
A representative. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man.
He was making sure the star was.
I know, terrible joke.
He wanted to make sure the star shone in Vegas. I tell you,
he's a big Cowboys fan.
To the phones we go. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Oh no, I got 2 minutes.
No, you've got one.
We'll switch to the metric system.
Yeah, right. All right.
That time.
Come on in here with your scratchy phone.
I wanted to comment about
Yes.
Anheuser-Busch. I think the only way that they're going to win back the American people completely is a heartfelt apology from whoever owns Anheuser-Busch, because it's not an American company anymore.
Well, no, that's a good point.
I mean, I think that would really turn things around. I doubt that's ever going to happen.
No.
I doubt it.
I think it's too late now for that.
Yeah, I think so.
Should have been done.
Maybe they need to get that guy that did all those commercials. I apologize.
All right. Well, in 15 seconds, what was your favorite commercial from the Super Bowl?
Believe it or not, I didn't get to watch the Super Bowl this year.
I don't believe
I
it.
did not get to watch it,
Okay.
and I cried myself to sleep.
Okay, well, there you go.
But my team won. I like all my homies. How can you not like that kid?
He's a heck of a ball player.
Oh yeah,
I tell you right now, buddy. I thought Joe Namath was something.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy too. So
you could tell on that last drive that they were going to do what they had to do to win that game. Hey, thanks for the call.
He hadn't gone to his head yet. Yep. Y'all have a good one.
All right, we got to get out of here. Charles, say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Rob, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And what do we need to say when we leave?
Bye, local.
Be sure and do that. Bye.